Recently, Nickelodeon had released an image of the Casagrandes movie, and this is it. It's Ryan along with the new character who is going to appear as one of the main characters of the film. And by looking at this image, it's not mainly the characters that got me invested. It's mainly the background itself. Since the background isn't the same as the locations from the Casagrandes spin-off, the characters are obviously going to be moving, not really moving, but heading to a different destination, and the destination itself will be the main factor of the plot of the film itself. And considering that it has the exact similarities to the Loud House movie, it really gave me the indication that the Loud House, that the Casagrandes movie is gonna take some inspiration, not really inspiration, but taking ideas from the Loud House movie and turning it into its own thing. And even though that I could be correct or not, it could possibly be a better movie over the Loud House movie. But I've talked about the Loud House movie in my Lincoln Loud video, and while some of my points still stay strong, I honestly felt like that movie was a lot more complex and mostly difficult to actually get into due to how divided the fan base was when it comes to the fandom and the film itself not following the source material. And by the looks of this image alone, the Casagrandes might be able to follow its own source material correctly, since that the characters were actually from the culture that they come from, rather than the characters like Lincoln and the other in the Louds family being from Scotland. And to tell you the truth, it's really difficult to understand the connection of these characters being from Scotland, while in the comparison of Ryan, who is Mexican or Italian, does really fit with her character, which really makes sense for the setting of the Casagrandes film taking place in the location of what this image is at. Now, there are some informations that centers around the Casagrandes film months ago, which I didn't talk about. And to tell you the truth, since that it's having a Netflix release similar to the Loud House film, despite the fact that it was originally going to be released in theaters if the pandemic never happened, I'm going to assume that with these Nickelodeon properties being released on Netflix, they probably wanted to have people watch these movies for them not having a Paramount Plus subscription. Granted, it's not really the case, but since that less films like from the Paramount company isn't being exclusive towards Paramount Plus, I'm going to assume that they wanted people from who had Netflix subscriptions really wanted to view these properties in order to be a fan of Loud House or Casagrandes. Now, granted, there were a few images that I've came across when it comes to behind-the-scenes footages, mainly Ryan being mostly disappointed and mostly lonely. I'm not sure what the context of this behind-the-scenes image is, or storyboard image, but it's not similar to the Loud House, because since that the Loud House movie had a direction that didn't work due to one character carrying the entire film, I'm getting the impression that Ryan is gonna carry the entire film, but not in the same way as Lincoln, because I'm pretty sure that with a proper execution, I'm pretty sure that the Casagrandes characters would probably make this work in comparison to the Loud House family. And believe me, it's difficult to look at the characters in the Loud House family when they don't do much and they're mostly props. I know it's an exaggeration, but when only some of them get attention, mainly Lucy, then it's really difficult for me to find any purpose or any real meaning of these characters going back home when they just can't be able to think straightly and they only think about having one bathroom at home or having multiple bathrooms. People may ignore that argument, but at the same time, it just really bugs me considering that the Casagrandes family, while being better, may have similarities, don't have the same disadvantages and setbacks when it comes to where they live in their apartments. If there's honestly one thing that kind of makes the Loud House movie honestly difficult for me to hate, other than going back to possibly, is the fact that it doesn't even try to be like a Loud House movie. And since that there's a sequel in the works, I'm pretty sure that sequel is gonna be an improvement over the Loud House film. And even if the characters may go to a different location, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be as anything as surreal or severe like Scotland when it comes to the feedback from the fan base. I'm being really honest that whenever I think about Lincoln being a spoiled brat, that just really shows that people are just literally ignoring everything, maybe, or just instantly just hating everything about it and not realizing that it's not really helping the situation of the film itself, characters being handicapped, and instantly just trying way too hard to make a character hateable while everything else is being mostly overshadowed. Even though that it could apply to Lincoln when it comes to the worst episodes centering around him, mainly from the earlier seasons, keep in mind, there was a huge difference in comparison to the Loud House movie. Well, the characters in the bad episodes, while terrible, at least did a lot more in comparison to the Loud House movie. I'm just saying this for a fact that the idea of comparing the Loud House movie to the Casagrandes movie is something I'm willing to give it a shot, but at the same time, my point of view of the film itself in my Loud House fanfic and my Loud House analysis video, it still stayed the same, mainly the fact that it's just difficult to take most of it seriously. Like, around the time when I made that video, it was almost a year after the Loud House movie came out. And judging of how that some people didn't talk about it since that they mostly gave up on the fan base, and whenever I see people mostly saying that Lincoln is a terrible character, I honestly think that it's difficult to see him as the bad guy when literally every one of his family members just don't do much. That just shows onto why I can't instantly just jump on the bandwagon on the problem centering around Lincoln when literally everything in the Loud House movie just doesn't even try, which really shows that I can't be able to get into the aspect of Lincoln being the Duke as mostly a bad thing when everything else is not even trying to make it so meaningful. Like, the episodes really did make it meaningful, and even though that the Casagrandes don't make it meaningful, at the same time, it's not like that the Casagrandes episodes, while being way too similar to the Loud House episodes, doesn't automatically mean that it's worse in comparison to the Loud House. Like, there may be a few aspects, but at the same time, not much. Now, the reason why I'm making this video right now instead of my 2024 plans video that I'm going to be uploading in the next 2 weeks on Wednesday is because I didn't talk about the Casagrandes movie in that video, not to mention that I also didn't talk about Primo's that has been delayed yet again. It was originally going to be premiering 2 months ago, but then it got delayed to January, and it got delayed again on June 4th. Hopefully, if it's June 4th. Because what I have in store in my plans video, you're not going to be able to be happy about. But my original plan is to compare the first episode of Primos to the loudest mission, Relatively Chaos. Since that it has the introduction of the Casagrandes characters, and it will have the introduction of the Primos characters. But at the same time, I don't know how it's going to be like once I watch the first episode. I'm being really honest with you that whenever I think about these ideals in mind, keep in mind 2024 would probably not be the year for the Loud House, since that this year was already the year for the Loud House when it comes to the first Sunday all the way to the final Sunday, since that the last day of the year will be the last Loud House vs. Casagrandes video for this year, but possibly maybe for a while. But at the same time, it's mainly what's going to happen or what I feel in 2024. But I'm giving out a little bit too much details of my 2024's plans. But just to point this out, there's a chance that I may compare the Loud House movie to the Casagrandes movie, mainly the first movie and the Casagrandes only film. Because by the looks of this image alone, when it comes to the background, there's a chance that it will have similarities with the Loud House movie, but at the same time, it will probably be an improvement over the Loud House movie. Because maybe it's either the fact that the people just like YM better than Lincoln when it comes to a different point of view, but judging of how that the Loud House movie was a lot more divided and honestly difficult to get into, this movie was really what causes the Loud House fan base to probably be a lot more divided, knowing of how it just didn't follow the source material. And by the looks of it, I can guarantee you that the Casagrandes would still have the source material, but at the same time, there would still be jumping the shark moments when it comes to fantasy elements similar to the Loud House movie. Then again, I don't know what the film is going to be like, but at the same time, if it airs before the summer, I might be able to make the video on time. Again, I'm going to be saving the details in my 2024's plans video, even if you may like it or not. Because as far as I'm concerned, 2024 is going to be mostly a complicated year for me, knowing full well that this year was a lot out of me. The only thing I can hope is that whatever happens when it comes to the releases of the Casagrandes movie and the Primos release, is that they're probably going to be the most Loud House material that you're going to be seeing from me for the following year. So, in all honesty, I really hope that people will understand where I'm coming from once I upload that video. I'm Lonely Fanboy 48 here, and I'll see you with more Christmas reviews this week.